All right, all right, all right. I'm here. This is Paradox with the Code Breakers. I'm gonna do a quick one tonight. I'm trying to do about probably about 30 minutes. I'm gonna make this quick just to cover some of the war update stuff. Um, it's so much propaganda running, boy. I tell you, it's exciting. I will say this: war is always. I mean, it's a horrific thing. It's a tragedy. Uh, some cases, it's a necessity when you live in a great nation like this, and things have to get done. But the civilians, man, on these news networks, on these podcasts, and these streaming shows, and I mean, all kind of so-called experts, and it's claiming things that they don't know nothing about. It's pretty bad, to be honest with you. It's entertaining because they're getting paid. They got to make money or whatever, and run the propaganda. But it is, just dealing with the federal government and their propaganda, that's enough. But to hear some of this nonsense from the big three networks on cable, the dying networks on cable, and even the up and coming big, podcasters and streamers, even some experts who actually are experts, even some ex-military people as well. But more or less, just a lot of talking heads, a lot of bubble heads, you know, just all over the place. But when you have an audience, you know, you run what you run. You're not gonna really be nuanced about anything or give many sides to it. You're gonna just. I mean, the stuff I've heard. I mean, even something as simple as did the bomb destroy anything? It's kind of like, well, I mean, you didn't go there, so I mean, you relied on information that you know Trump is gonna say what he got to say, and even when I think I played the video. I think I did. Yeah, I did play the video. Uh, with the with Pete and the commander when they were talking about, he was more clear about they're still assessing and they know they made some damage, but of course, Trump is going to come out and be turned up, and the media just roll with it. They roll with it, and it's just so funny to me. But again, like I said, it is definitely entertaining. But anyway, like I was saying on the last show, I think that of course Iran was going to strike back. People expected that. They did it. Israel struck them back, of course. Trump put out a bunch of aggressive tweets or truths, and I'm gonna play a video real quick of him talking before he got on the plane. Before he got on the helicopter, he's headed to the big convention overseas, um, to NATO. But anyway, it's interesting because they also put a report out today, and I know he's not going to be happy about it, but they also put a report out today that the initial information on the ground is that a lot of the stuff wasn't destroyed. And so, of course, once you say that, even though it's preliminary reports, of course, the media, it's almost like watching, particularly the left wing media. I'm trying to be balanced, but particularly the left wing media, the mainstream media, it's like they could not wait, you know. And I don't know from a left right perspective what it should sound like if you're an American, you live here, you're a part of this country, and when you speak, it's almost like you work for Iran in a weird way. I get what they're doing. It's not that I don't get what they're doing, but it just sounds crazy. Like it should be another way to approach it and still. But I just feel like a lot of those people, man, when things don't go their way, boy, they become they live in a different reality of this country, obviously, that I clearly do not live in. Um, so I'm not going to say any names. I don't know if it's really that relevant. Part of me wants to play some of their videos just to show really how just react basically do a reaction to some of the different people on the left and the right, because of course the right has been divided as well. You know, what's interesting is that everyone who's talking speak as if they have control over something, and they do not. So that's one of the weirdest parts. It's almost like you wasn't going to stop Trump and the Department of Defense and our security apparatuses that do what they were going to do, and then you can turn it up and say that we work for Israel or Netanyahu is dragging us in here or APAC or what they can the media can say that stuff. They can say that all day long. Um, we've been looking to hit Iran for a long time. We toppled governments. I mean, we've toppled probably 50, 60 governments since World War II. So I mean, you know, it is what it is in my mind. I mean, they get so hyperbolic and over the top and so apoplectic and all this. It makes you want to almost believe them because they pretend to be so upset. But at the end of the day, you're not going nowhere. I mean, what are you upset about? We're warmongers. We fight. That's what we do. I mean, it is what it is. You know, put it this way. I would argue it's either defense or offense. You're not in the middle, and you can ask many. This is what I was thinking to myself. You can ask many groups in the world, in the past and in the present, that you're very vulnerable if you're not in the right position, and you can be taken. And I mean, it's just that simple. I'm going to say that every time I have a call, probably, but that's just the reality of it. And so to pretend that we're something that we're not, I find it interesting. It's sort of a sadistic way of looking at the world. And that could be the right or the left. I mean, the left probably has it the worst because they're obviously more progressive. So they're going to live and manifest because they're trying to push something in a certain direction. So that's probably why I hit them so hard anyway, I'm thinking. But anyway, um, and so, yeah, Trump is upset because Israel, right after they tried to have some negotiations, and they told him to take a break for maybe, I don't know if it was 12 or 24 hours or whatever it was. And they decided not to, they decided, to bomb them again. And so one thing that Iran did do that I can remember, I looked at so much information today, but they did let, the military know, they let Qatar know that, look, we're going to bomb you guys, so just be prepared. So that was interesting. I know, countries do that. They have to show force. They don't necessarily want to make it any worse than it already is, but they have to show force, obviously, to maintain the control of their country. Is the logic behind it? Everything else, really, to me, is a lot of noise. I listen to a lot of the stuff on the right all day today, and a lot of stuff on the left, and far left and far right, and nothing really didn't stand out. I mean, a lot of it's kind of self-explanatory because unless you are in those briefings, and I think Congress already started doing it today. They started doing some private meetings to discuss what happened. Of course, crazy AOC was already talking about impeaching Trump. It's like, look, yeah, it's just noise, man. So it's just funny, to be honest with you. Like, they waste so much energy on things like, you've got to have a better strategy or just sit tight. And you got 18 more months or whatever it is. It's 18 months, something like that, to go. And so you have to be, you got some time, to sit tight until you can try to take over Congress and maybe just slow some things down. But anyway, a lot of other things happen today too. I won't get into. I know, the mayoral race in New York has been pretty hot in the media. A lot of things Trump is doing was so funny. A lot of things his team and his staff is doing, his cabinet and stuff, and different agencies. It's just so funny that they don't cover any of that information, left or right for that matter. There's just so much going on. Um, I won't. I may play a little bit of his cabinet meeting from a couple of days ago. It's 2 hours long, so I'm not gonna be in this call but another probably 20 minutes. or so. But anyway, so what do we got? They bombed everything. Everything isn't destroyed. Everything is going to spend. There's going to be a lot of spending from that position. Um, I think it's going to take some time to get the people in there to actually check and see what was really destroyed and see what they did with with all the materials to make the weapons and what can or can they not do. I think they tried to they put out some I think some nonsense about they're months away from getting back started again, and we'll see about that. A lot of that's just mostly all speculation, in my opinion. We have to wait and just kind of follow it and see, uh, what comes out of it. There was another interesting interview with some of the Jewish people, and I thought was funny because what did the guy say today? One of the head people for Israel. Oh, I thought it was interesting that one of the guys came out and confessed. He's like, "We want regime change. We want regime change." It's like, yeah, yeah, we know, we know you want that big hammer, that big American hammer to come out there and go ahead and just take care of the Ayatollah and just obliterate the whole government. I don't think Trump is. I mean, I guess you could argue that we're inching closer to that. I don't necessarily have um, a feeling towards it either way. I mean, I'm just observing and letting it play out. Like I said, the rest of it is just people running their cocksuckers, just a bunch of noise, to be honest with you. Or there's a way for them to make money off or something. But I think we have to wait and see how it's going to play. Some people are optimistic. Right now, I think the ceasefire is holding at the moment. But I do think Israel wants to overthrow Iran. I don't really think it matters if all of the nuclear material is destroyed or it gets taken away or whatever happens. If they decide to divide it all up and give it to other countries or whatever, and force Iran to just not seek any type of nuclear, um, and use some other sources of energy, basically. But that's going to take some time, I think. In Israel, I don't know if Trump can really rein them in. Obviously, from what we've seen, it's like I said, we have to let that play. That's just I'm just gonna just monitor that and just kind of take it and not really jump out the window like a lot of these dummies on the in the news is just I think just talking to be talking. To be honest, we're living in their own bubble, and just kind of going back and forth day to day. But anyway, I'm gonna play some of Trump's video. I thought it was entertaining, and I'm probably gonna jump after that. The other thing is, I guess DHS and some others have come out and said, people should be on a little bit of an alert. You got some more spin coming where on the right it's like, well, Trump, Biden letting all the terrorists, these sleeper cells, these super, whatever they call them, super cells or whatever, let all these super cells into the country, and we got to worry about that because something could happen and Iran could activate. I don't know. I don't know about all that. But I do know that places are on high alert, all over the world, and people are concerned about some other things that Iran, might do. But we'll see. We'll see. We have to let that play out as well. But let me play a little bit of Trump leaving the White House earlier today. I thought it was pretty funny. Let me see.
I don't think so, but I'm not happy that Israel's going out now. There was one rocket that I guess was fired overboard. It was after the time limit, and it missed its target. And now Israel's going out. These guys got to calm down. Ridiculous. I didn't like plenty of things I saw yesterday. I didn't like the fact that Israel unloaded right after we made the deal. They didn't have to unload. And I didn't like the fact that the retaliation was very strong. But in all fairness, Israel unloaded a lot. And now I hear Israel just went out because they felt it was violated by one rocket that didn't land anywhere. That's not what we want, I'll tell you. And I'm telling you, I'm not happy about that, Israel, either. Because all I do is play both sides. I'm going now, as you know, to NATO. Some of you are going with me, and I think it's going to be successful. We'll see. I'll let you know.
Are you going to achieve the agreement? The new dawn in the Middle East agreement you managed to achieve. What are your future plans for the region, for Saudi Arabia, Israel, Gaza, the hostages?
Look, you're asking me about women in the Middle East. It's getting a lot better. Things are happening at a high level. As you know, Saudi Arabia's done a really good job. It's coming out far faster than I thought. So we're very happy about what's happening with women in the Middle East.
No, I'm talking about a new dawn in the Middle East that you managed to achieve last night.
Yeah.
The region is going to a new place with the agreement. Can you tell us what's your future plans for Gaza, for the hostages?
Yeah. It's a new dawn. I appreciate the question. You're very nice. Who are you?
Thank you. I'm Maria Kraus from Israeli Channel.
Very good. Well, we have to have Israel calm down because they went on a mission this morning. I got to get Israel to calm down now.
Did you get to speak with the President? Did you talk to Prime Minister Netanyahu?
I speak to everybody.
You urge all sides not to violate the ceasefire, but reports coming from the region suggest that the sides accuse each other for violating the ceasefire. So
I think they both violated it. I'm not sure they did it intentionally. They couldn't rein people back. I don't like the fact that Israel went out this morning at all, and I'm going to see if I can stop it. So as soon as I get away from you, I'm going to see if I can stop it, okay? I think it's been completely demolished. I think the reason we're here is because those pilots, those B-2 pilots, did an unbelievable job. And, the fake news, like CNN in particular, they're trying to say, well, I agree that it was destroyed, but maybe not that destroyed. You know what they're doing? They're really hurting great pilots that put their lives in the line. CNN is scum, and so is MSDNC. They're all, and frankly, the networks aren't much better. It's all fake news, but they should not have done that. Those pilots hit their targets. Those targets were obliterated, and the pilots should be given credit. They're not after the pilots, they're after me. They want to try and demean. No, Iran will never rebuild its nuclear. From there? Absolutely not. That place is under rock. That place is demolished. The B-2 pilots did their job. They did it better than anybody could even imagine. They hit late in the evening. It was dark with no moon, and they hit that target with every one of those things, and that place is gone. But when I see CNN all night long, they're trying to say, well, maybe it wasn't really as demolished as we thought. It was demolished. You take a look at the pinpricks, and you see that place is gone. And I will say, I think CNN ought to apologize to the pilots of the B-2s. I think that MSDNC ought to apologize. I think these guys really, these networks or these cable networks are real losers. You really are. You're real losers. You're gutless losers. I say that to CNN because I watch it. I have no choice. I got to watch that garbage. It's all garbage. It's all fake news. But I think CNN is a gutless group of people. And the people that run it, nobody even knows it's been sold so many times. But the people that run it ought to be ashamed. MSDNC, a guy named Brian Roberts, he heads it. He's a disgrace. He's a weak, pathetic disgrace.
Iran violated the peace agreement and the ceasefire agreement. Do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. When I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Yeah, that last part went viral. Everybody should have already seen that by now. That went crazy viral. It's kind of funny, actually. But yeah, he's right though. The big networks, man, they're just running. They're running. It's just nonsense, to be honest with you. I mean, if you watch this stuff long enough, if you don't know, I mean, you just don't know. Nothing I can help you with, really. I'm gonna probably see how much time we got left. We got a few more minutes. I'm gonna play some of his gaggle on the plane before they take off, and then I'm gonna probably jump after that. Let's see what he got here. Let's see.
They would have if I put out a sentence afterwards, which went nowhere, which hit nothing, and there was going to and very greatly. So the plane's going in the wrong direction. You know that, right?
Do you want any consequences for Israel or Iran for
They didn't
breaking?
do anything. No, they didn't do anything. They would have if I put out a statement on truth, and they didn't do anything.
Sir, how are you confident that this might not happen again? Say in a couple weeks that.
Tired of it. I think they don't want it to happen again. And Iran's not going to have a nuclear weapon, by the way. I think it's the last thing on their mind right now.
Mr. President, did Iran make any commitments yesterday about uranium enrichment?
What?
About uranium enrichment?
They're not going to have enrichment, and they're not going to have a nuclear weapon, and they know that. They're going to get on to being a great trading nation. You know, they're very good traders, and they're going to be a great trading nation, and they have a lot of oil. They're going to do well. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon.
So did they
The
promise?
last thing on Iran's mind right now is nuclear weapons.
Can you clarify what you meant when you mentioned regime change in your Truth Social post the other night?
Which,
Regime change. Do you want to see regime change in Iran?
no, if there was, there was. But no, I don't want it. I'd like to see everything calm down as quickly as possible. Regime change takes chaos. And ideally, we don't want to see so much chaos. So we'll see how it does. You know, the Iranians are very good traders, very good business people, and they got a lot of oil. They should be fine. They should be able to rebuild and do a good job. They're never going to have nuclear, but other than that, they should do a great job, which is exactly where I've been saying for years, you cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. Yeah, but we're going to be with, where's Marco? I think Marco's here someplace. You know, our great Secretary of State. But we cannot let them have a nuclear weapon. They won't have a nuclear weapon. And I will tell you, the last thing on their minds is nuclear weapons. They don't even want to think about nuclear. And our B-2 pilots made this all possible. They had a magnificent hit in the dark of night with no moon, no light, no nothing. They hit the target perfectly, wiped it out. And the press is very disrespectful. I saw CNN fake news going, well, maybe it wasn't a perfect hit. It was perfect. They said maybe it did destroy it. We agree it did destroy it, but maybe it could have destroyed it more. No, it couldn't have destroyed it more. Everyone hit. And it's very disrespectful to those great geniuses and patriots that flew those planes through tremendous danger. So CNN and MSDNC are a disgrace. And so are the others. I mean, they're pretty much all a disgrace. But it's an amazing period of time. Now we're going to NATO, and we'll get a new set of problems. We'll solve a new set of problems.
Do you think you'll meet with Zelensky when you're there?
All right. I appreciate everybody. We are coming up on 30 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and kill the stream. But, he said what he said. Obviously, Trump personally may not want war. He's been saying that, bombing a country. Shout out to our B-2 pilots, though. We appreciate your service, of course, as always. You got it done. I love that. But when you do something like this, and Trump is trying to negotiate, if he can't get a wrangle on Israel, though, I don't know. We kind of got to wait and see. He's talking confident. That's the art of the deal, the art of the deal. So he's doing his thing, but we're gonna see. But I appreciate everybody listening. Of course, always subscribe and like the channel. I really appreciate it. And I'm gonna try to do something. Well, we'll see in the next day or two. I may do another quick one just to get an update if there's um, anything happening specifically with Iran. Anyway, I appreciate you. This is the Code Breakers. This is Paradox. Peace.